You know how some games just never leave you? Like, no matter how much time passes or new consoles drop, there's just that one title you always find yourself coming back to. Not out of habit or not because it's the latest thing, but because it's just such a good game. For me, that game's always been Skate 3. Like, this game literally dropped 15 years ago today. Well, not today, about a week ago. And I'm not playing it for the graphics, because, like, those haven't aged too good. I'm not still playing it for the story, which barely exists. And I'm not even really playing for the multiplayer, although I had some solid memories on there. It's hard to explain, but I just sort of play it because it feels good. It's sort of one of those games where you can just kick back and your muscle memory sort of kicks in. And everything you do on the game feels super satisfying. So starting with the obvious, Skate 3 is easily one of the best skateboarding games ever made. If we're talking about legacy or impact, or even just gameplay in general, it is at the top of the list still, 15 years later. It took what Skate 1 and Skate 2 built really well and just refined it heaps. It's almost over the course of making the 3 games, they sanded off the rough edges and gave you this open world playground to just have crazy amounts of fun in. And of course, they handed you one of the smoothest, most satisfying control systems in any games. They called it the Flick It system, and it was way ahead of its time. It didn't just feel like you were mashing buttons and watching tricks happen like on Tony Hawk. Weirdly enough, it kind of felt like you were actually doing it. It felt like the right stick of your controller was literally your board. Every slight nudge, every flick, and every tiny movement actually mattered heaps. It felt super tactile and intuitive, and once it clicked for you, like, it was over. You couldn't go back to the button mashing anymore. And don't get me wrong, I've got all the respect in the world for the Tony Hawk games, but Skate 3 was just different, and it wasn't about racking up a billion point combos off of a grind that lasted 2 whole city blocks. Skate 3 wasn't about arcade chaos. It was about, like, sort of clean lines. Skate 3 kind of made you feel like a real skater, pulling off slightly realistic tricks. Of course, towards the end of the game's life cycle, people definitely started doing more unrealistic stuff, but that's only when you do, like, glitches and all that. But I don't know, it just felt like Skate 3 respected the little things about the game, like a clean pop shove it or even a smooth manual over a box, and the physics were kind of dumb in the best way. And it might sound random, but at first, it kind of reminded me of the Spider-Man games like on PS5. Obviously not in genre, but just the feeling it gives you. Because most people don't really like Spider-Man for the missions or the side quests. They sort of boot it up to just swing around the city. Like, literally just to move with no objective or no point. It was like the act of swinging through the city is enough. Like, the motion of it, the rhythm of it, and the flow. And it just feels like Skate 3 nailed that exact same energy. That feeling of just normal movement being rewarded. That kind of cruising around for no reason type of fun that doesn't need XP or unlocks or anything like that. Like, technically you just traveling through the map is enough to have fun, because I think traversal is actually one of the most underrated parts of any game, and to be honest, Skate 3 might be the best at it. It made going from point A to B like an art form, and it didn't funnel you down a path or throw some random checklist at you. It literally just said, here's the city, go figure it out. Even with the way the missions are laid out, you don't even need to complete them. You can just keep skating around the city and completely ignore it. And the fact that it still feels smoother, more fun, and more rewarding than most games in 2025, like, to me that truly says something. And of course, the movement hasn't been bogged down by monetization or over design. It's just super smooth, effortless, and kind of timeless. And I touched on it before, but one of the ways Skate 3 really shined was that it hit the sweet spot between realism and fun. I know it sounds super simple, but almost no skate game since has managed to do it right. You've got new games like Session or Skater XL, super hardcore and almost too realistic. Like, yeah, I get that in real life it might take you 15 tries to land an ollie onto a simple ledge, but I don't want to do that in a game every time. A game like that, the learning curve sort of feels more like a punishment and less of a challenge. Then on the other hand, you've got something like Tony Hawk, which again is legendary and it's fun as hell, but it's not real skating. It's almost like rhythm gaming with a board, chaining together cartoon sequences of moves that kind of don't even look real anymore, and there was kind of no weight to it. And Skate 3 kind of split the difference. It felt really authentic without being frustrating, realistic without being boring. Like, you could land sketchy tricks, have weird physics, you could launch off ramps and glitch out, but underneath all that chaos was a rock solid foundation. Technically the glitches weren't bugs, they were features, and they became part of the culture. And that mix of control and chaos made it very legendary. And don't get me wrong, nostalgia is super strong with this game, I get that. But Skate 3 actually has some receipts too. So in 2014, which was a couple years after its release, it still sold 2.6 million copies. In 2016, EA, the publishers, had to literally reprint the game because demand was so high, and this was for the backwards compatibility on Xbox. In 2020, when the new Skate game was announced, a 350% player spike came following. And this one's crazy, but over 600,000 people were still actively playing in 2023. This one's crazy too, but it ranked in the top 30 most downloaded Xbox games in 2024, That's 14 years after its release. And of course, the new Skate game exists purely because the fans would not shut up about Skate 3. Like, that's crazy power. And why I love playing Skate 3 so much is because there was no right way to play it. If I wanted to grind challenges, I could go for it. If I wanted to build skate parks with crazy ramps, I could do that too. If I wanted to just be playing a game while I listen to a podcast or just listen to music, I could just mindly do it in the background, almost like it was therapy. That's kind of what it was perfect for. And 15 years is a decent chunk of my life, so I really do feel like I've played it most of my life, like all throughout my childhood, from early teens to late teens, and even now, it's always been my go-to game, like a boredom killer, or just a late night comfort pick. And I can't keep saying it, but it's just crazy that I'm still playing Skate 3 in 2025, 15 years later after it dropped. Especially because this game doesn't have a lot of the stuff that current gen games do, like battle passes or just monetization in crazy ways. Like, Skate 3 did not follow trends, and they did not rely on gimmicks. They just lock in on the feeling that you get from playing the game. And that's so rare. And one of the best things about Skate 3, in my opinion, is its replayability, because it's honestly unmatched. Like, I don't even think about, quote, beating the game. I just sort of load it up and skate. Even throughout these whole years, I couldn't even tell you if I've finished all the missions. It just feels like every time I hop on, I end up doing something different. Sometimes I can just spend hours on the one spot, just trying to complete this line that I've had in my head for so long. And it's a game that you can just keep on coming back to, not because it's constantly throwing new content at you. In fact, we haven't had new content in decades, but because the core gameplay loop is just that good. Like, the fun is built into the movement, not the rewards itself, not the cosmetic items. And what's kind of wild is that Skate 3 has become a game for our generation. Like how the older heads talk about the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, like with deep emotional nostalgia, that's sort of how we feel about Skate 3. It kind of defined that Xbox 360 era, and I don't think anyone will stop watching Skate 3 content soon. I mean, I see it all over Instagram and TikTok. Kids are even playing it that weren't even alive when the game first dropped. It's very crazy. Like, it must be good if people who didn't even grow up with it are discovering it now and understanding why it's so special. And with Skate 4, or as they're calling it, just Skate, finally being on the horizon, there is a lot of hype, but also some real hesitation, because if you didn't know, it's going to be free to play, and it's being developed by a new studio, but still under EA. They claim it's going to have cross-platform support and user-generated content at the center of it, which sounds sick, but also has people worried, because when you hear live service or free-to-play in 2025, your brain will instantly think like battle passes, microtransactions, or just hollow games that aren't really complete unless you put money into it. And it sucks, but that's the opposite of what made Skate 3 special. Skate 3 didn't care if you're logging in every day. It just wanted to give you like an open world to just cruise around and skate on. And that's another reason why Skate 3 is so timeless. It's just there. It like serves as a capsule of that time in gaming. No extra DLC needed, no online membership needed, and it can't just get deleted off the internet in 10 years time. It's going to stay the same way it always was. So I really want to know if you guys are still playing Skate 3, or what you think of it, or even if you're planning on giving the new Skate a shot when it drops, because I'm definitely going to play that. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe if you want more for this. As always, all my links are down below. That'll be my Instagrams and my clothing brand, my streaming platforms, and my Twitter. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. It's been Once Faded. Peace.